Zack, what are you doing, Zack Snyder? Why would you do this? Oh my God, this has been sent to me by so many of you, and thank you, because we got to talk about this. Justice League director Zack Snyder denies toxicity in his fandom. They said what? Zack Snyder said what? What? All right, hold on, right? Let's read it first. All right, let's try to be objective here, fair. Let's see what the man says. Okay, so he's promoting the book that's out there, written by Cinema Blend's Sean O'Connell, the author of Release the Snyder Cut, the crazy true story behind the fight that saved Zack Snyder's Justice League. And titles, it's like birds of prey. They shared an excerpt of his conversation talking about the toxic fandom, and he opened up firmly pointing out that there are critics who are sour grapes, admitting that he was held back from confronting them. So here's him calling out his haters, his critics. I think it's just sour grapes. There's really no other way to say it. We know the people who are the architects of that narrative, and it's pretty obvious what their agenda is. Those are people that I've been held back from confronting by wiser people in the room because I'd love to get at some of these characters. People who didn't like the film? He wants to get back at them? Okay, interesting. There's also suggested direct conversation with these folks would be welcome, citing his confidence that he can make a list of every wrong report or claim about him and his Justice League. He's not paying attention to the fans. He's keeping lists. Zack Snyder is admitting to keeping lists of his haters. Some direct conversation would be nice, just to say, one, you don't know crap, he said, didn't say crap though, about what you're talking about. And we can break down everything they've ever said. I can make a list. There's a few of these guys where I could just get a list of everything they've ever said that they thought was right, and I could tell them every single thing they've said is wrong. So not only is he keeping track of his haters, he's keeping lists of the things they've said. That's even worse. He's monitoring and following through on all the things that are said about what was inaccurate about the film. Now, look, I understand he's frustrated. I do not like misinformation. But man, for a guy who's like I thought he didn't care about the haters. I thought he doesn't pay attention. He's focused on making the work. And well, this is proving serious anger, resentment, bitterness. I mean, these quotes is a man who's empowered because he got his way and now he's back on top. And you got to remember, things have shifted a lot since this book has come out. So this was a man on top. And I'm not saying he's on the bottom now, but I'm saying Warner Brothers still there. A lot of stuff still, a lot of rumors out there that, I mean, let's be honest, they've called it the cul-de-sac. It's over. While they've made this happen, they're moving on. So they've said as much. This is not a world they want to continue to visit. So let's continue. So Snyder then wanted to talk about the toxic fandom when calling the attention of the fakers that tried to degrade his fan base's efforts in the past year, such as the charitable work. And so in what world do you have any credibility anywhere to anyone? Talking again to these haters, I would love the opportunity to just say to the world and to fandom in general who these fakers are and what should be done to them or with them. What? Please, I want to. What are you implying there, Zach? What should be done to the fakers? It's just a bunch of BS in regards to that toxic fandom, or it's a win for toxic fandom again. In what world does this toxic fandom raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for suicide prevention? How is that toxic fandom? They've probably achieved more than any other fan base and done more good than any other group. So I don't understand. Dude, you are unhinged. And you're so off base. You're claiming that the Snyder fans have done the most for fandom? I've seen other people come out. Have you ever heard of the 501st, sir? They're a group that I've worked with numerous times. They are Star Wars fans that take no money, and all they do is raise money for charity, showing up to hospitals. They've been doing it for decades. I mean, there's other groups out there that do it. How dare you start comparing and using your charity as a shield, which now you're doing, to then compare as to who's better and who's worse with their charity givings. Now, no one's ever disputed the fact that, yes, great, they raised a lot of money for charity. Bravo. No one's ever disputed that. There are also a lot of wonderful people, rational fans in Zack Snyder's fan base. No one's ever denied that either. What happens is the cult of Zack Snyder, which exists, which is a minority, but a very loud minority, they get upset when they're called what they are. And the reality is they are toxic. Now, should Zack be responsible for the toxic parts of, of his group? Is that fair? No, we shouldn't be, obviously. But you still got to, now when you're asked, are they there? Yeah, you got to condemn that part, because there's a very nasty side of the Snyder fan base. You can't keep denying that, Zack. And it's not just, and is releasing a victory for the toxic fandoms. Why releasing is a dog whistle for the toxic fandoms. I mean, there are so many people out there. Here's fan art made by Zack Snyder fans who think he's God, Jesus. I mean, for Zack Snyder to be so clearly, I mean, what's so frustrating here is the hypocrisy of this implication he's not paying attention. He just proves not only is he paying attention, he's keeping lists. I'm sure I'm on the list. I cannot wait for Zack to come and correct me with all, I guess. Bring it on, man. I would love to have some truth behind it, because there's so much misinformation out there and you do nothing to end it. You only fan the flames of your negative fan base. That's all you do. And to say you don't would be a lie. So let's go through some of it, shall we? Let's talk about how it's only good. It's only good. And I want to give a shout out because JM Carter, thank you for sending me this over, the Carter_GLA. I'll put the link to this article because it's a really well done piece. And he sent me this article a while back and I got lost in my box. And in doing research for this video, he really put it all out there in a way that where I just thank you. And I tried to get him on the show. I couldn't reach him in time, but I want to give him a plug. I will put the article down in the description of the video. You can read his article. It's a really good article that breaks down the history of what happened and why, which I'm sure the book is not going to be honest about, but it's going to break down the history of what this was. And it's a really fascinating piece because how it all started, how the first, who was it? Fiona put together this for Snyder Cut website just to sort of, for Snyder Cut's mission to share in what we love about the vision we've seen and bring the light, the vision on Justice League that we didn't see. Our goal is to see the time, care, deliberation, preparation, intentions of what the principal photography was, all this. So look, that's not, so they got the movie, okay? We'll get there, but it all started there. And it didn't really take off until Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot supported it. Now, I don't know the backstory of who told them to or why they did it. They just did it on a lark, or if Zack pinged them. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how it started. But when they added to it, boom, thing took off to next level endorsements. Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, the biggest stars of the movie, they came out to support it for Zack, who I'm sure they have good relations with. Never said they didn't. And that sent it to the stratosphere. So what ended up happening? So all right, so as he breaks it down, it's sort of important to remember where it all sort of how things of these nature started. So the irony generated by the Snyder faith. So and this person's labeled him. Yeah, I think even before we did. They became a religious sect. I don't want to just read what he's doing, but he does such a good job. It is. They really looked up to him as a prophet. Cinematic prophet is true. Thus naming them the Snyder Cult. Now this is, again, I got to always preface it because people will call me out. This is a part of the fandom, not the entire fandom. There's a lot of Zack Snyder and DCEU fans that aren't like this, that are like, yeah, I like the movies. I want to support the movies. I think Zack was wronged. Yeah, good for you. You are normal. But that's not what the fan base we're talking about here. So for Zack to deny this part of the fan base is a lie. It's disingenuous, and it tells me he doesn't want to take accountability for fanning the flames. To pay this much attention, as he clearly has been doing to his haters, I'm sorry. Now you can't say, well, Zack maybe hasn't seen the hate. Lies. Lies. Zack's clearly paying attention to it all, in my opinion. So anyway, there's Zack Snyder. So superhero films are too complex and laden with heavy themes, and thus we're unable to properly digest it by ordinary folk and biased bloggers. These are sort of the the delusional narrative in which these are the several platforms, the tenets of these people. Disney Marvel Studios ruined comic book movies by conditioning the audience only to accept and praise films that contain comedy, bright color palettes, formulaic plotting, and lack of real life stakes. Film critics, especially those who work for media major outlets, have their reviews counted on Rotten Tomatoes, are all paid Disney shills. I remember I got in this fight with Grace way back. John Campy and I got in this fight with Grace Randolph because she literally was saying that people who were reviewing Marvel were paid shills by Disney. She's been a Snyder cultist since day one, and he's noticed it. He pays attention to all of it. And the reality is, Grace Randolph is also a faker. She's gotten a lot of things wrong, Zach. So how dare you start deciding and telling the base who our fakers are? It's like a McCarthyism. He's like, not only is he behind it, he's going to start he's aiming it, and he's going to be under, I bet you behind the scenes, aiming his weapons to sort of target certain people that he doesn't like. You know who else has ironically been doing that? I wonder. Let's see. So anyway, so much here. Bloggers, critics, everybody actively engaged in insulting Zack and his work. Smear campaign to sabotage the DCU. This is where it all, these are the groups. And bravo again to the Carter here for putting all, like, I couldn't have worded it better of the tenets of the cult of people. This is what they believe, and then they make stuff like this. If you're an atheist and don't believe in higher divine power, you understand DC Comics or DCEU. This is the audience that has taken the pill of Snyder. And so where it all goes. So what happens? Social media trolling. Same hate movements such as Gamergate, Comicsgate, the worst side of the Snyder army absolutely does the same thing. They create hundreds of accounts, usually emblazoned with avatars from Snyder's, whether it's Affleck or King Leonidas or even Jared Leto's Joker has come in the mix now. They call him Zaddy, which is the nickname of Zack and Daddy. And they will, anybody who they swiftly swarm and mentions and dogpile and engage in bad faith arguments regarding Snyder's DC films, usually armed with mocking memes, out of context comic book panels to prove how comics accurate Snyder's interpretations are. And it's important to mention this. The dogpiling is where it becomes bullying, and where the problem is you do have to start calling it out, because these are bullies who are associate producers of the Snyder Cut. These are people who have Zack or Ben Affleck's Batman. His creations are the avatars of who's sending this hate out. Now, if I'm a creator, if I'm a director, and I'm seeing that out there, I want to clean that up, because I don't want my work to be associated with bullies, with toxic bullies. Absolutely. So I would do everything in my power to be like, look, we don't condone that. So therefore, the fan base can push those people out. But that's not what happens. Because no one condones them, they're emboldened, they're empowered, and they sort of, people swink and like and laugh at from afar as they kick down the people who don't support the Church of Zack. That's the reality of what has happened over the past few years. And they would have gotten away with it probably if they hadn't gotten so aggressive in the end. And I think even AT&T finally realized the error in their ways of empowering this base. They'll see in the long run. But, you know, here, Film Gob's one of them. All these people, I didn't even realize this. Film Gob was found intense criticism in 2018 for posting a now deleted, photoshopped his head over the body of a soldier holding to Feige, who was Jewish. My God, Fob is not a good guy, and he wants to come after us and his how bad we all are. His moral compass. What a scumbag. He is such a hypocritical scumbag. The amount of dirt under it, clearly the skeletons in his closet and awful things he's done. But now he's empowered by this base. So he can have this army of trolls who arm him and empower him to keep doing it. So they were all over the social media accounts flooding with the release of Snyder Cut. Look at how gross this was. When Kobe died, they were in there. We love you, Kobe. Thanks to Warner Brothers, but you're not off the hook for releasing Snyder Cut. R.I.P. the greatest Laker. Yes, I said it, the greatest. Like, they were coming in on the day of his death to like chime in and call out Warner Brothers to make this. This is the type of people they are. And then here's like smacking Scott Mendelson for some reason. Zack Snyder smacking him in the butt. This is even before that Scott and Zack, I'd like to bring him on and have a more in-depth conversation. We'll see. But man. So anyway, this is the other thing I want to get to, because I don't want to make this be an hour-long video, because it could be. Targeting the snakes. This one's very interesting because, again, if you go through this article, it's historically accurate. Goes through and talks about all the people that are against him, that they're all of the so-called snakes. Jeff Johns, John Berg, Kevin Tushihura, who's now no longer there, Toby Emmerich, Joss Whedon. Why do those names sound familiar? All right. Yay, Fisher. No motive there. Why would he target out all of the snakes against Zack Snyder? No conspiracy there, I'm sure. That's just, I'm sure Ray is true. He really had all that stuff happen to him and decided to wait until they were emboldened and empowered to do it. Look at this. This is a Snyder fan. You're so ignorant. Released Snyder Cut cultists are using Zack Snyder's daughter's death as ammunition against James Gunn. They did that. So you're so ignorant that you actually believe that Disney had no role in Zack's daughter's death? Zack, this is a fan of yours. This is the attitude out there. Perhaps they didn't outright kill her, but they did influence her suicide. All that so Kevin Feige can copy Justice League and input his rat Joss Whedon to ruin it. This is horrifying. Look, that's your emoji. That's your head. That's the Justice League fan. These are the people you're emboldening, you're empowering. But no, there's none. What are you talking about? There's none. No, what? Just a bunch of BS, a bunch of fakers. In what world does this toxic fandom exist? I mean, that's not toxic fandom. They gave to charity. How dare you call them toxic? They've achieved more than any other fan base. Cool. But you can't acknowledge, yeah, of course there's some toxic people. I don't support them. It's very Trumpian, if we're going to be honest. A lot of people criticize Trump for not calling out the bad people, which, let's be fair, he has actually called out a lot of those bad people, but that doesn't get clipped. But the reality is, I'm just saying, for a lot of people who are criticizing, he doesn't. It's very similar. Some shocked more liberals aren't mad at this. Snakes, poison, just Johns, so pathetic, miserable, jealous little man. He ruins everything he touches. Thanks, Josh Snake, Jeff Johns. Snakes it goes on and on and on. All the snakes that are now being called out by Ray Fisher for being not snakes, worse, without any evidence. Maybe there's a reason why we don't have evidence. Maybe this is all the point. They went after, I forgot about this. They went after Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. This guy, it's huge cultist. I think actually they did push him out because he got so vicious. Some of them even did turn on him. Look at that bee jump. Nobody did when she made a joke about nobody's seen the Snyder Cut. She didn't seem nervous to answer the question. What do you guys think? Look at that bee jump. No, so now Moa is nobody then, huh? Release these people. There's no toxic, huh? Cool. Here's Matt Reeves. Now there's a whole conspiracy of Matt Reeves was pushed out. We want Ben Affleck, not your snake-ass movie. Shame on you, Jeff Johns and Toby Emmerich, for what you did to Zach and Ben. Shame. So I guess there's a big conspiracy. They pushed him out. Here's a whole completely false story by Film Gob, spinning out of control, saying that Affleck was pushed out the door as part of a sinister conspiracy concocted by Jeff Johns. Yeah, I'm sure his family drama, his alcoholism had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it, clearly. Ben Affleck has now on the record said he didn't want to do it anymore. He's just lying, of course. That's what they say. And then James Gunn, they went after Danny Elfman because he wasn't Junkie XL. And then they said horrible things to him. I mean, it's endless. It's endless. Here they are calling out James Gunn for taking over about his dying dog. I hope your dog dies so that we can all say goodbye to both the dog and the owner. I mean, and there's Batfleck. Woo, good job. And there's no toxic fandom. What are we talking about? If anything, his toxic fan has become more emboldened by the director's constant tantalizing trickle of still images, cryptic Vero posts. Vero, by the way, owned by his billionaire friend. That's why he does it. Utilizing his keep on completed on Justice League and the news cycle. And then he did this on Subway. Look at this. Subway. Snyder Cut sandwich 214. It's 214. People have been asking me, what would that be, a Snyder Cut sandwich? Obviously, it's all meat. No cheese, no bologna. He's fanning it. He's absolutely fanning it. He's out there totally promoting it. Snyder even directly to communicate with one of the most hostile members of the cult, Harassment Brigade, granting an interview to a writer who contributes to pro-Snyder editorials, heavily Snyder-biased comic book debate. Look, only later did this person, vicious, he doesn't check it. He just support anybody who's being pro-Snyder. He shows up on him. And then here's another interesting theory, which I totally believe this. Cosmic Book News, we got this covered, Screen Rant, all these total clickbait sites. We're literally just creating articles to continue the fight longer. Robert Pattinson Batman expected to star in WB's Justice League reboot. Lie. Avengers Endgame proves Marvel's Martha twist is worse than BVS. just clearly to spur it. Marvel rumored to take over DC Comics. I mean, comic book news is so wrong so many times. But all lies, just all again to create and keep this animosity going. And reality, and thanks to, like, this was before it all came out, this article. And yeah, it did exist. It did exist. We can argue about the semantics of it, but the reality is, to say that there's not a toxic fandom attached to this movie is just a lie. It's an absolute lie. Now, again, one could say, is that his responsibility? We could have that argument, but he just went on record and said there isn't one. Huh? That's a bunch of BS. These are fakers. It's all sour grapes. I have lists of it all. How could a toxic fandom raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for this? How is that toxic? They've achieved more than any other fan base. I just don't understand. Well, Zach, I hope you understand. You got to call out the people who are calling out the snakes, because that's not good for fandom. You and your silence has caused serious problems because you've let that emboldened crowd just keep bullying everybody with your avatars from your movie to just keep hitting. It's not okay anymore. And some people in the fandom have started to call it out and notice, and good for them. Good for them indeed. But at a certain point, you got to say something. I'm shocked because I wanted to give Snyder the benefit of the doubt. I do believe they took the movie from him. I do. I think it's great he gets to get the movie back. But man, hearing these quotes and hearing the amount of attitude in them, I believe he's aware of it all. This to me shows his true intentions. This to me, again, now I'm speculating, this is my opinion. This to me makes it feel like of course he's working with Ray Fisher to take everyone down. He wants vengeance on everybody who wronged him. And some will say he deserves it. I don't work that way. There's a vendetta here. This isn't justice, this is vengeance. And that's scary. And so empowering, look, you can easily say all these things. You can focus on the good of your fandom, and you can also clearly say, I mean, any PR person would have helped him, coach him to say, well, yeah, look, I don't support any toxic part of the fandom. Every fandom has that. And there's no way do I endorse anybody bullying or doing any toxic behavior in my fandom. And if they're out there, they should stop. But I know the real fandom I engage with is this. That's how you do it. But the problem is, Zach can't say that because he's shown up on the feeds of these people who are toxic. And now he's proving he pays attention to them. So to say that Zach doesn't know and isn't cool with his army out there, the toxic ones included, doing his dirty work for him is just a lie. I don't know why he gave this quote. That was ridiculous of him to do, but I'm sorry, Zach. That is ridiculous. So sure, keep your lists, come at us. I look forward to you finally, I guess, dropping the receipts and telling us what we don't know. But the reality is you have a very toxic fandom. There's a loud minority in your fandom that you got to be very careful of. You absolutely do. And you should be calling them out to make your fandom nicer. And I bet you there's a lot of people in your fandom, the Zack Snyder fandom, who would appreciate it too, who don't like that side of it. But they don't say anything because you've said nothing. So I don't know what this is. This story is ridiculous. On a scale of 1 to 10, since he said what? To me, this is a 10 on the ridiculous scale. Zack Snyder did not. Come on, dude. What are you talking about? This is the dumbest statement I've ever heard you say. And now it's frustrating me. And you bet we're going to talk about this more because that's not okay to denying that there's no toxicity. What planet are you on? Like, step out of the bubble then and find out, because now I hope more people point it out to you so you can say, well, of course that's not okay. It's such an easy way. Even if he's the big villain and sort of like, yes, I like these people doing my dirty work. Woo, I secretly enjoy it. Which it seems like maybe he actually is enjoying. Even if that's the case, at least have the oh no, we don't support them. You haven't even done that. You're just saying it doesn't exist. This is maddening, guys. What do you think? If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, can you do me a favor and do that right now? Hit the subscribe, hit that little bell to all notifications. Make sure you smash that like button, and please leave a comment down below for engagement to help get this story out there, because this one's a doozy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Planet.